You know, when you first look at this, it seems like maybe the most boring document on the planet, right? It's just an industrial form, all tables and empty boxes. It's called the MI42 Monthly Ammonia Engine Room Inspection. But, and trust me on this, hidden inside all these lines and checkboxes is this incredible story. A story about diligence, danger, and the invisible systems that keep our world from falling apart.
So what kind of story can a simple checklist actually tell? Well, that's what we're going to find out. We're going to treat this thing less like paperwork and more like a mystery we have to solve. We'll look for clues, we'll meet the characters, and we'll uncover a whole plot that's been hiding in plain sight. So let's start digging into the evidence.
All right, so every good investigation starts with the basics, right? Our first step is to just play detective and break down the title itself. The clues are right there on the cover page, and they tell us a lot about the kind of story we're getting into.
Check this out. These three little words really set the scene. Monthly. Okay, so this isn't a one-and-done thing. It's a ritual, a constant watch. Ammonia. Now we have a very specific material, one that can be pretty hazardous. And engine room. That gives us our setting. A place full of power, complexity, and big machinery. See? The story is already starting to take shape.
Okay, with the scene set, it's time to meet the key players. This form isn't just about random checks. It's focused on very specific pieces of equipment. And, for our little investigation, these are the main characters. Their health and safety is the whole point of this monthly drama.
So our first character is the compressor. You can see right here on the form there are a few of them, with names like 1SCPM1. The checklist gets really specific about what to look for. Are its oil heaters working, and what's its electrical amperage? These aren't just random things to check, they're basically the machine's vital signs.
So, based only on the clues from this form, we can start to define our character. The compressor is a critical machine, and it needs its oil to be at the right temperature to work properly. And the check isn't just, is it on? It's, is it energized when required? That little detail tells you this is a dynamic system that needs very careful attention.
Now let's meet our second character, the evaporators. And again, look, a whole list of specific units. But the inspection here, totally different. The focus is all on preventing excess ice buildup and making sure the drain line heaters are working.
With this one, the story kind of shifts. It becomes a tale of temperature control and prevention. I mean, ice buildup might sound pretty minor, but the fact that it's checked every single month tells you it's a constant threat that has to be managed. And checking the drain line heaters, it's all part of the same goal, preventing blockages that could lead to a much bigger failure.
So picture this. When a technician grabs this form and heads into the engine room, they're following a very specific script. First, they identify the exact piece of equipment. Then, they verify its unique functions. Then they're actively hunting for known hazards. And finally, and this part is absolutely crucial, they put their initial and the date to record what they did. This whole process turns a static piece of paper into a real-time safety operation.
It's really easy to look at this and just think, okay, so what? They're checking for ice and making sure heaters are on. Big deal. But that right there, that's where the real story starts to get interesting. Why does one little checkbox on a form carry so much weight? Let's zoom in a little.
Take a look at this one single line item. Verify evaporator is free from excessive ice buildup. It's just one check among many. It would be so easy to just glance right over it. But that single task, it's a barrier. It's a frontline defense against a way bigger problem.
That small detail is, well, it's everything. Excessive ice isn't just an annoyance. It can cause inefficiency, equipment damage, or maybe even a catastrophic failure of the entire system. That simple little checkbox is a guard standing watch.
And it's the exact same story for the compressors. Verifying those oil heaters isn't just about routine maintenance. If that oil gets too cold, it can't lubricate the machine properly, and that could lead to a massive, powerful, and very expensive piece of machinery completely seizing up. Each check is there to stop a very specific disaster from ever happening.
So you see what's really going on here? This document, it isn't for recording history. It's for preventing it. It's a proactive script, designed from the ground up to catch tiny problems before they turn into huge ones. It's a tool for systematically getting rid of risk, one checkbox at a time.
Okay, but what if the script goes off plan? I mean, what happens when a technician finds an evaporator that's totally covered in ice or a heater that just isn't working? Well, our story has a built-in plot twist for exactly that scenario.
And this is the climax of our story, the deficiencies and corrective actions section. This is the part of the form that makes sure a problem, once it's found, can't just be ignored. It creates a formal, documented path from finding the problem to fixing it.
This creates this really important feedback loop. If a problem is found, the story doesn't end. A corrective action must be documented. It's not optional. The form itself demands accountability, making sure the system doesn't just find problems, but that it also fixes itself.
And that brings us right back to the person holding the clipboard. When that technician puts their initials in a box, they're not just filling out a form. They are making a professional promise. They're saying, I checked this. I verified it. On this date, this machine was safe. It's a commitment.
Okay, so let's zoom all the way out. This particular form, the MI42, might be for one specific engine room, but the idea behind it, this concept of a simple, powerful checklist acting as a silent guardian, oh, it is absolutely everywhere, protecting us in ways we almost never see.
Seriously, think about it for a second. The maintenance log a mechanic signs before a plane takes off, the surgical safety checklist a doctor goes through before an operation, the temperature logs for the food you eat, the unbelievably detailed inspection forms at a nuclear power plant. They're all cousins of our humble MI42. They all tell the same story.
And that's really the ultimate takeaway here. Our complex technological world doesn't just run on powerful engines and brilliant code. It runs on these seemingly mundane, boring documents. They are the invisible infrastructure of safety, the quiet routines that stop disasters before they start and allow everything else to work.
So, the next time you see a clipboard with a form on it or a simple checkbox on a screen, maybe don't just dismiss it as boring paperwork. Instead, ask yourself, what story is that form telling? What potential disaster is it preventing? And what silent guardians are out there keeping you safe right at this very moment?